There we are. So I see me, I see the TV. So we got lots of stuff planned for tonight. Of course, we got the backdrop. Trying to figure out camera angles. So if I adjust things tonight, bear with me as we make these adjustments. YouTube audience, same with you all as I'm trying to figure out the right angles and stuff to get into the computer screen. So what's everybody up to tonight? YouTube audience still waiting on our go live, so that's good. Ryan, welcome. Nothing much. Lexi, what's going on? Yes, it snowed today, so you went on a walk with your sister. Oh, that's awesome. Emily Monin, what's up? You're working. And then Andrew. Okay, Andrew, I'm going to try not to call you Lexi because I see the Lexi logo, but I have to remember that is Andrew. Chilling, staying away from the nasty virus. Yes, stay far away. This thing is quite nasty. It will knock you down if you don't take care of it. There'll be times throughout the day where I am just golden, I guess, so to speak, energy-wise. And then there's other times where I'm just like, wow, I'm drained. It just kind of hits and goes in phases. So YouTube audience, as I'm adjusting, trying to make sure we get the camera going for you all. I've got a TV, so it's going to be hard. So Instagram, you all get to see more of my face. YouTube, you get to see more of the TV. Unfortunately, I'm doing it from home, trying to produce, so it's hard for me to adjust camera angles and everything and get it just right by myself. But we're going to make it work, and we're going to have a good night. And I'm going to attempt to use ProPresenter. So I'm going hybrid this week. Okay, so you'll be going back partially. Very cool. All right, so for kind of like an interactive that we came up with, so this is for hey, I see Steve Smith has joined us on YouTube. So thanks, Steve. I'm glad you'll be able to get to see this beautiful television screen. Big shout out to Steve for helping me get all set up. The beauty of FaceTime phone calls to got all the apps and everything going well. So we're going to be doing an interactive called Emoji Madness. And what this is going to consist of, which is going to be really cool, is I want you all to spam me emojis. So, and I've got to try to figure out the story that you're trying to tell me with all of them. So it could be that you're trying to describe an anger situation like we talked about last week, or you're trying to discuss something dealing with fear or something like that. I want you to spam a series of emojis. So start telling a story. So Lexi's just told a story, Lexi Zuber, and hers is, I'm guessing you're just laughing at me at this point. So, yes, Steve does seem like a great guy. Very, very awesome. So, all right, so start spamming those stories, and I'm going to take you over to our crazy emoji madness screen. And I want to show you a really cool feature. I did not figure this out on my own. This was shown to me. But I can actually, you can barely see it on that screen. So yeah, this is not as cool on Instagram. Sorry, guys. But we can actually draw on the screen. So when we do live streams in the future and I have stuff where it's one big visual that you all are looking at, it should be a little bit easier for us to incorporate some of these cool things. So we're actually talking about drawing some emojis that would be really cool. Okay, so our first stories have come in. Let's see here. Looks like Ryan is saying Christmas and tear. So are you sad that Christmas is over? Is it Christmas is over, so you're crying, or Christmas tree is taken down and you're crying? Lexi Zuber, finger point, cheesy grin. So I'm trying to follow that one. Andrew, your dog is sick, so you're cheese facey, but he's good now. And whew, you were sweating that one. Did I get it, Andrew? Was I close? Steve, peace sign. Dracula is a man and a woman, heart, and they fall in love, and they have a brunette baby. Is that right, Steve? Hey, Andrew, I got it. Yes. And Ryan, I got it. Yes. All right. So we are rocking and rolling with these emojis. So if you just came into the live, I want you to spam the comments with an emoji story. So I've got to try to figure out what your story is based on the emojis. And I just rocked the house with Andrews. I got to say, I got to brag on myself there. You're getting braces. Okay. So you were to the teeth. Okay. Steve, was I close on yours for YouTube? Exactly. That they fell in love. Awesome. So thank you, Lexi, for pointing out that I was wrong on yours. So it wasn't what you said. But so I've gotten Ryan's right, Andrew's right, Steve's right, not Lexi's. Who else has one? I saw Caden Campbell come into the live. I saw Caitlin Gilbert come into the live. Just throw an emoji story at me, and I will be happy to answer. All right, Ann Smith has joined the live. Ann, come up with an emoji story for me. So just tell me a story or a statement in emoji, and I have to try to figure out what it is. Oh, Steve's was Twilight. Okay. The peace sign one is what threw me off, but stuff, guys. I'm having fun. Don't hide in the live. Comment. Caitlin, where are you? Caden, where are you? Comment. YouTube audience. Hey, I see that we have 4 people in the YouTube audience, and I only have Steve chatting. So give me a shout out. Who are my other people? I think I might be one of them. I think I count. So there's at least 2 more people watching. So throw us some comments. Let me know what you're up to. Okay, Ann Wave, that's her emoji. So she's saying hi. Caden Campbell. Caden, you got the football championship, and then you got a medal on top of the trophy, and you're very excited about that. Oh, Andrew, you're one on YouTube too. Awesome. Lexi's, you're crazy faced about your 2 dogs. Ryan, soccer season is questionable whether you're going to get to play. So you're crying and very sad about whether you're going to have a season or not. Caden, I got it right. Yes. See, this is my game. Okay. Steve says he wants to change it up a little bit. Do a movie title with emojis. So throw some movie titles. And you just told me what you were doing, Ann, so I know BRB's Be Right Back because you sent for food. You're going on a walk with dogs. Yeah, Ryan. So is yours knee related or is it season related? Hey, YouTube, I promise I'm going to start looking at you all more. Okay, so far I've gotten everybody's right but Lexi Zuber. And Lexi Zuber, once again, pointing out that I got hers wrong. But that's okay. We're still having fun in here tonight. I know Andrew's in the house. Where's my other small group leaders? Small group leaders, sound off. Where's my small group leaders? No season related because, yeah. Okay. I see a girl. So Andrew does a girl with a bow and arrow. And is that grapes? I started to say brave, but the grapes. Girl, arrow, bone arrow, grapes. Grapes. All right, you might have me on that one, Andrew. Then Cadence is American flag, bang firework emoji, and green water pistol because we're on live. American. Ooh, these are the Hunger. Oh, Hunger Games. Wow, that's awesome. I didn't think about that with the grapes. Lion King is Lexi's. Boom. Got it. Steve on YouTube, we've got running female fire. Is this another Hunger Games one? Catching fire? No. Running fire. Flame. Running flame. I don't know. Oh, American Sniper. That's a good one, Caden. I didn't think about that. Okay, Ryan, I see fish eyes, fish. I'm really not good at the movie title ones. So maybe Steve's suggestion derailed me. I was doing good with just the randomness, but the movie title one. Yeah, Caden, I think that was good. Ryan, I'm still trying here. Fish. Finding Nemo. Finding Nemo. Okay. It's old. I started to say Chariots of Fire, but you always say no one will know that, so I didn't think you'd actually do a no one would know that one. So it is Finding Nemo or Finding Dory. Dory. Okay. Jaws. Steve, is that Jaws? You did a shark. Jaws, Deep Blue Sea, Sharknado, Sharknado 2, Sharknado 3. Anything with a shark, Baby Shark. Finding Nemo, Fish Are Friends, not food. Finding Nemo. Awesome. Arrow up. Okay. Well, that's good. Caitlin's is a angry face and an eagle. Angry Birds. Angry Birds? Is that right? Oh, it is Jaws. Good. This is good stuff. All right, we got time for a couple more before we move into the message. Yes. Awesome, Caitlin. Awesome. Thank you. I saw Mr. Larkin join. So it looks like middle school boys, small group leaders are dominating tonight in the live stream. I don't know if my middle school girls are or not, but middle school guys, you might end up with a prize before the end of the night for attendance. This is awesome. Did I miss yours, Lexi? I thought I did yours. And then Andrew, lightning. Oh, flash dog, lightning dog. Ryan's is laugh, question, cry, angry. I have no idea on yours, Ryan. Is that just a response? Lexi's is a calendar that says the 17th. Calendar, hourglass. Oh, Inside Out. Oh, Ryan, that was good. Steve, she totally got me. If you're not watching it on Instagram, she did the different faces of the Inside Out characters. I'm trying, Lexi. Calendar, and an hourglass. Hourglass. Time, date, time, date, time, date, time. I don't know. Steve did a star and is that a fencing guy? Star Wars. Is that what that is? Fencing guy, Star Wars. 17 again. Oh, okay. That's clever. And then Larkin, star, fence, water pistol, because we're on live. Star. And then Steve, yours is I have no idea. Okay, so I got Star Wars, and then you got the telescope, looking outer space, alien. Alien face, Saturn alien, planet alien, space alien, telescope. All right. Yours is the same as Steve. Star Wars. Okay. Melvin's here. Yeah, Melvin is on YouTube. Yes, sorry about the Browns. Sorry about the Browns. Man boxing. Rocky? Caden, is that Rocky? Boxing? Melvin got E.T. That's good. Karate Kid? It's Karate Kid or Rocky? With the gloves, I didn't know. Okay, it was Rocky. Awesome. So, the reason I want to do that is we're doing a lot with emojis because we're doing a lot with emotions in this current series that we're in. So I'll kind of step back so you can see most of the video. YouTube, you all should be good to go. But I want to show you our bumper video for this series once again before we move into a discussion on fear. Awesome. I know it's kind of weird to see. It probably looks backwards and all this stuff. So we're currently in this series called Moods for middle school students. So if you're just joining us, this is the first time you've been part of this series, we are talking about moods right now. And the reason we're going to spend a little more time with moods is last week we spent a lot of time talking about anger, specifically, what makes us angry and how we respond when we're angry. What I want to spend a little bit of time talking about tonight and actually get your thoughts and your opinions on is fear and actually being afraid of stuff. So we all know what it's like to be afraid of something. I think everybody would say that they know what it's like to be afraid. So if you're comfortable sharing your fear, I just want you to comment what's something that you say I'm afraid of. So if you were to tell us, what would it be? What is it that you are afraid of? Failure. Yes. I think Steve and I share this one quite a bit. That we're afraid of failure because we want things to work. Hey, there's Doug. Awesome, Doug. Darkened spiders, dude. I don't like spiders either. Those things can just creep up out of nowhere. Lexi, a lot of things. Okay. Um, can you share some stuff? Failure. Yep, Andrew, you're right there with us. Not being good enough. Yes, that's something that I think is a struggle for all of us. You know, that we're not going to measure up, you know, to somebody's expectations. Melvin's afraid of ET. Melvin, we should talk about that one, man. You know, he's just a little dude. His neck gets tall, but he's just a little dude. And then Doug, Doug lies in general, or Doug's not afraid of spiders in dark? Heights freak you out. Okay. I'll make sure that I try not to put you in a situation where you are asked to do anything high, Andrew. So the scissor lift, the sky lift, I will not ask you to help us do the light bulbs and stuff in there. Snakes, yeah, I don't like them either. I mean, they don't bother me. It's just when they catch me by surprise. So if you move something and there's a snake and you're both kind of like, all right, what do we do now? One of us is going to run, and the snake's usually not it. Oh, this is Michael. That's awesome. Hey, Michael. I was like, why would Steve say Doug lies? Good to see you, buddy. So Michael's afraid of dark and spiders. All right, I'm with you now, man. Those are fun. More like being on a tall ledge on a mountain or something like. Okay, so like natural bridge where you're just kind of standing on a rock and there's no railing. All right, any others before we move on? Yeah, scary stuff. Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I'm going to try to adjust this again. I know it's going to be a little wonky, a little whopper jawed and everything, but you might be able to catch some of the screens as I go through them. The dark. Yep. I would agree. Lots of stuff. Now that we've thought a little bit about those, you know, I wonder if I ask you this, our imagination seems to play a big part of experiencing fear. Do you agree with that statement that your imagination is what maybe helps your fears get carried away? What do you think about that? Is that true? Is that no, you're still going to be afraid regardless of whether you'll let your imagination in any of it? Does it stand out by any means? All right, so Michael and Steve are saying yes, definitely, that the imagination plays into it. Excuse me. Other thoughts? Do you feel like imagination helps carry those fears maybe to an even bigger place that will become a little more real? Sometimes just depends. Larkin, 100%. Right. So why do you think we let our imagination do that? Why do you think? Is it in our control? Can we control our imagination? Can we control that? Or is it just an uncontrollable thing where we know, man, I've got this fear, so I'm going to start processing all the things that could go wrong? All right, Andrew, absolutely. Most of the time, nothing bad happens. We imagine the worst case. Yes, we imagine the worst case scenario. And reality is usually not nearly as bad. I completely agree. You know, about 30 minutes ago, I was struggling to get all this stuff set up. You know, I was on the phone with Steve. We were trying to figure out, you know, a glitch that I was running into getting this TV screen to work. And I was in just absolute fail mode because, like, oh my gosh, I've only got 30 minutes to get this ready, to go live, to talk to these students. And it's just all falling apart. You know, everything's falling apart. You know, I've got my screen behind me. Of course, my angle, it's not what I want it for for the camera for the Instagram, so that's not perfect. And then my YouTube one is kind of getting chopped off here a little bit. So it's not perfect, but it's working. We did our game, we did our interactive, we're still chatting with each other, and all those things have come together and they're fine. But my imagination was running wild with it, and it kind of prevented me from really focusing, getting ready to talk tonight. Yeah. So with COVID, yeah, Lexi, I agree. It's so I think when it first came out, we all thought worst case scenarios, but at the same time, we're seeing that it's a serious thing. It's good stuff. All right, so I want to share these 3 words here: fight, flight, and freeze. And this is usually our response to dealing with fear, especially when our imagination is running wild. Excuse me, I just scratched my eye there. So we either fight in a situation, which I'm notorious for doing. We either the flight side of it, so we run from that situation, or sometimes we'll get in a situation where we're experiencing an immense amount of fear that we just freeze. We shut down. And I can go through all 3 of those. My initial response is always fight, because I'll get frustrated and I'll be ready to put up a fight. When I don't think I can put up a good fight and I've had enough, I will flee that situation, mad still. So the flight kicks in, or I shut down. And if I just shut down, it's just like no talking, there's no communicating, and it just really takes away from my interaction. So I wonder, which of those 3, if all 3, those are mine, I've shared my experience, which of those 3 do you experience the most, or what's your go-to in the midst of fear? That's when Anda shuts down, then punches. Yeah, I think I usually punch, then shut down, but I understand that one. Any others? What's some other thoughts on how you respond to fear? Do you fight? Do you flight? Or do you freeze? Melvin, you're a fighter. Michael, you're a fighter. What about Instagram audience? Andrew, probably freeze first. I think about all the possibilities, get overwhelmed, and then shut down. Yeah, because if you give that imagination time to process, there's that greater likelihood I'm going to shut down from this, because there's all the things that could go wrong. All right, so Lexi, you say it depends on what it's about. Okay. Excuse me. Not quite to 100%, so I don't have much voice. You try to keep calm in any situation. It's good. I think that's the best thing that we can do. Caden, I tend to think about it, and I think about one good thing and one bad thing and make my decision depending on what the situation is. That's a good approach, man. That's a really good approach. You're actually taking a step and thinking about it. You're actually building off of what we just talked about last week, dealing with anger. You're taking that step back. So that's really good. All right. The verse I want to share with you tonight, there's actually a couple of them. It's found in the book of Matthew. So, Matthew is one of the gospel books. And we're actually going to be looking at Matthew chapter 8. And it's actually going to begin with verse 23, I believe. So I'm going to try to lean back. I know it might be hard to see, Instagram audience, so I apologize. But it says, then he got in the boat and his disciples followed. So this is actually talking about Jesus here. And it says he got in the boat and his disciples followed, and suddenly a furious storm came up on the lake, so that the waves swept over the boat. But Jesus was sleeping. The disciples went and woke him, saying, Lord, save us, we're going to drown. And then it continues by saying, he replied, you of little Why are you so afraid? Then he got up and rebuked the winds and the waves, and it was completely calm. The men were amazed and asked, "What kind of man is this? Even the winds and the waves obey him." And I think what stands out to me the most here is the fact that Jesus says, "Ye of little faith." Ye of little faith. That kind of hits me harder because as you study about Christ, the fact that he was able to do what he did should not be a shocker, right? We know that he did all sorts of miracles like that. It's not uncommon for someone to be like, "Oh, we can't believe you just did this, Jesus. Oh, I can't believe, you just calmed these winds and all this stuff, even though we've seen you do all this other stuff." Um, so it's not so much that he did that, it's the fact that he was speaking directly to our fears. That even in the midst of that storm, those disciples had forgotten that Jesus was with them. So here they are, they've been with him, they continue to be with him, and yet in that moment, all they could think about is this storm's going to kill us. They're thinking about all the possible things that could go wrong and not, "Oh, Jesus is here. I'm good. I'm safe. This boat could completely capsize. We could all be out in the ocean water, almost to the point of drowning, and he could literally just pick the boat up, flip it over, and dry us all off." But that's not how we process things. That's not how we would have looked at it. So what are your thoughts? Like, what is your response to when Jesus says, "Oh, ye of little faith"? Would you have taken offense to that? Would you have thought, "Yep, you're right. Yep, I have no faith whatsoever"? What do you think? And I remind myself of that when I'm worried about a situation. Yeah, isn't it a good reminder, and like it's like I really don't have faith in this situation. And I can't tell you how many times a day I'm like that. You agree with him. I want more faith. Yes, I am with you, Steve. I feel like I don't have enough. Like my reflection times have been a revelation, I think, as I've been quarantined here at the house. I think I've realized there's some definite gaps or holes, if you want to call it that, in my trusting and having faith. So that's been a an eye opening thing. Like, why are you so worried? It's all going to come together, and you're having relationships with your students and interacting. We're having fun online, and you put some pipes together and some canvas together and plug in a couple wires for a TV and computer, and it all comes together. Have faith. Other on Jesus saying, "Ye have little faith." I keep blocking the TV. Sorry, guys. It's hard to get me and the TV on Instagram. Andrew, I know God's got me, but in the moment, I only look at my own powerlessness, and that's why I get scared. Dude, that's deep, man. That is the nail on the head right there. You hit the nail on the head. Yep. In the moment, I'm including myself in that, look at our own powerlessness because it's like, "Oh, no, it's all falling apart. So I have to be the one that fixes it too because I'm in charge. Um, it's a trust thing. I wonder if we replace the word faith there with trust, if it would shake it a little bit. I know, like if we said you or ye, whatever you want to say there, version of little trust. You don't trust me. Why are you afraid? You of little trust. You need to trust me. That's good stuff. One thing I want to remind you about, because I know we're short on time. We do services like there, is that when we're out of control, Jesus is in control. So it doesn't matter if we find ourselves on one of these boats, one of these ships, we find ourselves in the midst of that situation. That part doesn't matter. What matters is that we know that Jesus is in control. Being quarantined here at my house was out of my control. I had to obey the law and do what a good citizen, a good Christian, and a good brother in Christ would do for others, and stay till this process is out of my body. That doesn't mean that Jesus wasn't already working on this ministry, things we need to do at CapCity, all the adjustments that need to take place. It was all going on, and it's all in his hands. And I had to take my hands off of it. That's part of the problem. That's what's part of the problem most of the time, is I'm too busy with my hands on things. So if we feel like we're out of control, it's a good thing to stop and remember that he is still in control. And to remember that fear doesn't have to be the boss of you. Just like anger, we said anger doesn't have to be the boss of us. We need to also remember that fear doesn't have to be the boss of us. Our imagination doesn't have to be the boss of us. Just because those thoughts come to mind doesn't mean that they have authority over our life. Doesn't mean that they have power over us. We're giving it power when our faith is not focused on Christ. Thoughts? Any final thoughts on that? Well, that's good, Michael. I'm glad you are out of quarantine. You'll be normal. Any other thoughts on fear not having to be the boss of you? Or maybe you can think of some ways that you are keeping fear from being the boss of you. Maybe you've found it's in prayer, or maybe you found that it is in spending more time in his word. So you found some verses, not just what we've talked about, but some verses that stand out to you. Feel free to share those as well. And as you're processing, not to cut anybody off, I did have another verse and another little statement I wanted to share as you're thinking. But 1 Peter 5:7 tells us to cast all our anxiety upon him, being Christ, because he cares for us. So we're going to have fears. It's going to happen. And it's going to develop and try to root as anxiety. And, we don't want to let things to turn into anxiety. We don't want to allow a root of sin to get into us. So he's urging us to cast it on him. He knows it's going to come. So he's like, here's your battle plan. Cast it on me. And as you face fear, two things you can do that will really help you. First, think about what fears you are facing right now. So you don't have to try to sit there and scroll back and go through, oh, these are all my fears. But start out, what is bothering you right now? What are you fearful of? And then once you've identified that, one by one, take them to Jesus. One by one, take them to the foot of his cross and say, look, Lord, this is really weighing me down. And you said in 1 Peter 5:7, I can cast this anxiety on you. Well, this is rooted itself as anxiety. This is a fear that has really troubled me, and I don't want to carry it anymore. So I give it to you. And if we will take them to him one by one because we love him more, not because we're not struggling, but because we love him more, then he's going to continually show us how to respond to fear. And I hope that helps you tonight. Andrew, I agree. Daily reminder. Yeah. And I'm speaking to myself like 30 minutes ago or an hour ago, like, this is all falling apart. So fearful. Lack of faith. I'm just glad I had to speak tonight so God couldn't just tell me to go lay down and be. All right. Final thoughts, Instagram audience and YouTube audience. Final thoughts on dealing with fear, not letting fear be rooted in your life. Respond to fear, thoughts on our verses tonight and what Jesus wants us to have more faith and more trust in him. Also, any prayer requests this week, that things that I can bring about as we are away one more week. We are very hopeful. Nothing's been announced yet, but we're hopeful we'll be able to be back together here in the very near future. But until then, I'm definitely going to keep you all in prayer while I am home and while we are separate. So, prayer requests that you have this evening. Michael, you should have heard from your small group leader on that one. So check with Andrew and Zach and Melvin. They were. I left it up to small group leaders to decide how they wanted to do it this week, whether they're going to do it tonight or midweek. So check with them. And actually, Andrew, if you all could reach out to Michael. I stop fearing when I remember how strong God is and how much he's looking out for me. Yeah. When you think about that, Steve, it's like when I don't realize how strong he is, I'm really pointing out how weak I think he is. Like when I try to take it in myself with my own fear, like my fears show a weak God. Even though God's not weak, I'm not saying that, but my fears show that I serve a weak God. So I don't want people to think I have a weak God, because there's not a weak God. He's God. He's strong. So that means something's out of joint there. His strength is demonstrated in the midst of my fears. Okay, so Zach, you're doing the ASFAB for Navy. That's awesome, man. We'll definitely be praying for that. Inauguration this week, yeah, it's going to be an interesting week. Very interesting week in American history. All right, Michael. Andrew said that he sent out the small group instructions to your dad. So we'll relay it that way. So you should have Zoom login information. Check with Dad. He'll get you set up right after this. So probably 7, just like live. And almost all the kids are sick. Yes, you're just like getting attacked, Dan. So we definitely want to be lifting that up for the different sicknesses. And I know we've had some other students that have faced the virus just for privacy reasons. I'm not listing names, but if you do, you do, but I won't be. I'm glad Grace and Faith are feeling better, Stephen. Definitely praying for Emma and Max. Lift up. Max has had a tough time. Since Jess is one of our leaders, we can share that. That's okay. No, it's fine, Steve. She'd be okay with it. But yes, it's been a tough season for everybody, health wise and sickness and all this stuff. So, but all right, well, let me pray for everybody. If you'll join me in prayer, and then you can proceed on to small groups. Appreciate you joining the live tonight. If your group's not meeting tonight, they'll be sending out information to you about meeting a little bit later. So let me pray for you. God, I thank you for the opportunity to be here with our middle school students. We have to adjust things, do things virtual, and sometimes that's different. It's weird. It's even annoying. But God, you're faithful. You're faithful to keep us together. We can share in your word. Your word was read. Your praises are lifted up in the midst of just fun times, smiles, and even just laughter. And then, God, that we're your children. We can focus on being your children. God, there's so many people hurting right now. I thank you for Stephen Ann's household, Lord, with Emma, that you would just bring healing to her, and Max, God, healing over him as well. And Lord, everyone who's struggling right now, and our leaders who have big decisions, and including our nation with this inauguration coming up. Lord, it doesn't matter what side of opinion you are on it. It is just American history heartache right now. And God, we're witnessing stuff we've never witnessed before, and we need you. Help us to remember, just as we've talked about tonight, not to be fearful, that you're still on the throne. You're still in charge. You are still Lord of all. And if we truly believe that, then it doesn't matter what waters this country faces, what capsizing fear tries to come into us. God, you are in control, and you're in control of our lives and our hearts. And we surrender that to you in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you all so much for joining our Cap City Student Middle School Live. Stay tuned for future events that we'll have coming up very, very, very soon. Oh, thank you. Thank you for recovery prayer. Yes, I'm on the mend, I believe. So we're excited about that. So, all right. Have fun at small groups, and let's go.